Hey guys, this is SunsFan with an introduction to our brand new VOD section. Now, I might seem a little bit excited from time to time, and that's because me and a few other people have been working on this for such a ridiculous amount of time that at some points I never thought I was going to get done. But alas, we are finally at the launch date, and we couldn't be more excited. Now, some of you may be asking, what exactly is a VOD section? And I can't blame you too much because there really isn't anything quite like this, at least nothing that we've found. Essentially what this is a collection of competitive Dota 2 games cast by a number of individuals. The one thing in common is that these are all on YouTube. We did this because there's really no comparison to YouTube when it comes to videos of this nature. One thing that I ask you to please remember is that this section is still in beta, so you will be able to break things from time to time. If something does break, just refresh the page and it should fix it. This video is both intended to be the launch video as well as a video tutorial of this section as a whole. So with that theme, let's get started. Alright, so as you can see here, we have a collection of VODs, and if I scroll down, more start to pop up, but there is a limit of 60. And that's because it starts to get laggy after a while, and there's really no need to have this many on the screen, considering our filter system, which we'll go over later, is quite robust. So, these boxes themselves, they're pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you're a little bit confused or overwhelmed, let's go over what this is. So, this is a VOD box. As you can see me, hopefully you can see my mouse. Yes, you can. The time ago, this is a new VOD, meaning the last 24 hours it's been posted. If you put your mouse over, there is a hover effect for pretty much everything here, which this one actually shows the date as well. This is the tournament of this VOD. Here's the team, obviously, versus team. And down here, this is the what we're calling the classification or description. It's a best of. Every single one of these VODs has either at least best of 1 or best of 3 or something like that. So it'll show that. And if there's anything in addition, you'll see, like in this one, qualifiers, or even on this one, grand finals. And of course, the casters are listed at the bottom. Now you'll notice that some of these, in fact only one on this page, is highlighted a different color. So by default, they're all blue, but if it's rated highly, it turns into a different color, which we will go over in detail later. So this is an example. In fact, I think this one's fake. Since this hasn't been released yet, nobody's been able to vote. We just wanted to, show this, see what it looked like. And also you'll notice that this box here is faded out. And a lot of you might be confused to why that is. That just means you have watched this match. And by watched it, I mean you've clicked it. So, we'll see what people think about that. And again, all these features are subject to change depending on what your guys' reaction is. That's pretty much it for the VOD boxes. There's not a whole lot to go over. So let's go over the filter section, which might take quite a while. Alright, on to the filter section, which I did mention earlier is quite robust, so this might take a little bit to go over. Now, we have casters, date, ranking, teams, tournaments, which we will go over each in succession. But first I want to talk about the search bar, which we're not coming out with initially because we could have come out with something basic, but we're looking to do something a little bit more detailed, where kind of like Google, where you're typing something in and it auto-suggests like a VOD for you or something like that. So that'll take a little bit to get in place, so we're just going to hold off on for launch for that. Okay, so let's click on casters. And by default, you will see, well, first of all, you'll see a bunch of casters here listed. And by default, like I was saying, they are sorted by matches. So Toby1, as you can see, has done by far the most matches. LD in second, and so on and so forth. You will notice arrows on the right and left side, which you can click to go to the next page, or more conveniently, use your mouse wheel, which I think is freaking awesome. So let me go back to page 1. Obviously, you can change this to A to Z. Pretty easy to do, in case you're looking for somebody specific. Now, if I click on somebody, let's click on AC with his golden voice, you will see all of his VODs come up right here. And it is listed by date, so the newest things are going to be on top. And of course, if I keep scrolling, you'll see more and more. As you can see, these are a month old, 2 month old, and it stops at 60. So pretty cool. You can do multiple casters. And you'll see a little bit later that this is a little bit better feature coming up, but doing multiple casters isn't going to be the most helpful because it still does it by date, so you're going to want to be a little bit more specific, but that feature is still there in case you want to use it. And before we go any further on the next filters, I just want to show you the status bar, which I did mention the A to Z in matches, but also there's a hide logos, which I will probably go over later. the favorites, and a reset. Reset, obviously, if I have a bunch of selections and I just hit reset, it just resets everything. Pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Another thing about this filter section, if you're going on a different filter, you'll notice that there's a yellow color here. That just means that you have something selected, so it gives you an idea of what's being filtered for right now. Now the favorite system, and this works pretty much the same for the teams and tournaments, and you can choose to do what you want with this. Let's say I want Shiver as my favorite or Winter, and I toggle them with the favorites. It'll just give me every LD in Shiver cast match up to 60. So there's a lot of different things you can do with that. I think we can get a little bit more robust with this in the future, and your requests will be appreciated on this as well. For now, I'm going to get rid of my favorites and untoggle them. And actually that doesn't work like that, so now, okay. So next filter, date. This one I don't think I'm going to go over too much because you can read, I'm assuming. If you're on our website, you can read. I'm hoping that's true. It may not be true though. The one thing I will show is the date range, which pretty awesome. Let's say I want to watch a match between March 1st. I know it was like, oh, I know, for some reason I know a match was March 1st and 2nd. Well, you're wrong. There was no there were no VODs for March 1st or 2nd. So we're gonna increase the range. There we go. Beautiful. And as you can see, it says 4 weeks, which is a month. That's going to be fixed by the time this video comes out. All right. All right, next filter is the ranking system. Let's go over this real quick. The bottom part is pretty much self-explanatory as well. A lot of this is, and we're just doing this just in case some people are a little bit confused, because there hasn't really been a system quite like this yet. Finals, semifinals, quarterfinals, and qualifiers. We might add stuff to this later, but again, I just hit finals. This gives me finals matches, and I can scroll down. Beautiful, beautiful, excellent. These rare, mythical, legendary staff picks. Okay, so rare, mythical, and legendary, which we'll go over a little bit later as well. With the rating system is you guys rate the matches. So let's say something is listed as rare. I click that, and everything rare and above comes up. So this one's green. This one is actually legendary, I believe. Is that one? Yeah, legendary. So it's orange. And staff picks, which is going to be the most populated right now, and a lot of it is the international, I think, is listed here in red. So I think things will change with this stuff in the future, how many votes are needed, and again, that we'll be going over that in a couple minutes. Now the best filter on this section is the teams filter, and of course, as you can see, I have something selected here in the ranking, so all I'm going to do is hit reset, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's back to default. Okay, so if I click on one team, for example, it shows me all Mouse Sports games. Beautiful, self-explanatory. I can go into the date and look at specific dates for them, or if I want to see a cast by Toby that was a Mouse Sports game, I can do that very easily. But the teams filter is a little bit different than everything else, because if you click 2 of them or more, you'll see a primary results, and if you scroll down, secondary results. So let me explain what this means. So I have Navi and Mouse Sports selected. The first section of primary results is Navi and Mouse Sports only. Okay, so it's matchups between them only, and everything below is one or the other. So it just shows me a combination of the two based on sorted by date and whatnot. Now, if you click more than 2, it's kind of the same. Obviously, you can't have a 1v1v1, but it'll show one and one of the other, if that makes sense. So as you can imagine, this one's going to be quite large, and then since it's a 60 cap, the secondary result's going to be quite small. But you get the idea, and this makes head-to-head matchups, finding head-to-head matchups that much easier. So we're very proud of that feature, and excited to see what you guys can come up with next to see what could be potentially added. And of course, tournaments, which is kind of like the casters or pretty much every other filter. You just click on one and it comes up with that tournament. So not a whole lot to go over for that. Now, finishing up with the action bar here, I didn't go over hide logos because I wanted to go over it last. Now, we say that the VOD section is 100% spoiler free. Now, technically, by default, it's probably 99% spoiler free. We'll go over a little bit of that in the match page itself, but imagine this. And again, this hide logos thing is only for probably 1% of the population. If you're watching a tournament, let's say the defense, and you go to ranking, and let's say I want to watch the quarterfinals through the finals, and it gives me all those games. Now, if I have no idea who won any of this stuff, and actually, as I can see, there's going to be mistakes. So this one's the first one. This is a 7-month-old game. There's no way that this is the finals for the Defense 3, so that will be fixed. Anyway, so we have 3 matches. But let's say, okay, I don't want to know that Virtus Pro is in the finals, or even Fnatic for this example, because it ruins it for me that I see Fnatic in the semifinals and the finals here, so the lower bracket finals. So what I can do before I search for that, I can just hit the reset button, of course. Hide logos. So that's all it does. It hides logos. So I say, okay, I want to do not the international, the defense, and finals, semifinals, and I can just watch it like that. So this is the safeguard for those that are hardcore about spoilers. But generally, I don't think people are going to want to use that. But you guys can let us know in the comments if you think that's useful or not. Alright, and on to what the actual match pages will look like. So I'm going to click on this qualifiers best of 3 cast by AC and Puppy for the G1 League. And this is what you get. You get an enormous YouTube video with a sidebar on the right side of the screen. So as you can see at the top, it shows the casters and date information with the tournament listed below. There's a match tab, comments, and streams. The comments, well, comment system. We wanted to do this on purpose, not to have it automatically show because there are going to be spoilers in there, I would assume. And then streams is just live streams, and we're probably going to put something else there in the future. So the match tab, let's go over this. We have the logo versus logo, and by that I mean team versus team. Game 1, Game 2, Game 3. And yes, to answer your question, if there is no Game 3, there will still be a Game 3 button here to avoid spoilers. So that is a big addition that I think people will appreciate quite a bit. Aside from that, you'll see that in this video, the YouTube video, it shows the actual in-game screenshot, and some casters do not put thumbnails for some reason, and we're hoping that they'll do that in the future, but hopefully by launch or a little bit after, we're going to implement something that will prevent you from seeing this, because like if I'm going to watch this game, I know there's a Weaver in it. That kind of spoils a little bit. I mean, it's not a horrible spoiler, but I mean, I know I'm not going to watch this game because there's a Weaver in it, for example. But hopefully that's fixed for launch. Unlike other sites, we're going to be updating this daily, and you'll notice quite a bit of changes over time based on your guys' suggestions, so we really do encourage that. Alright, and the last thing for the match page that's unique, actually there's a couple more things. First is the rating system, which you can see I already voted. It's a +1 gold system, but if I put my mouse over, oh, this thing's a little bit buggy. That's fixed for launch, don't worry. If we put the mouse over the question mark here, you can see that rare, mythical, legendary staff picks right now, and I'm sure this is going to change. This is probably the thing that's going to be subject to change more than anything. It takes 50 votes to make something a rare VOD, which is probably too low. We're just not sure what kind of a reception we're going to get overall, so that is definitely subject to change. Alright, and the last thing for this page, again, the fact that I'm doing this like a few hours before launch and there's still going to be like 3 or 4 more features implemented should show you how dedicated we are to keeping this up to date as much as possible. The reason I say that, I think there's going to be a back to VODs button around here somewhere. I'm not sure where we're going to put it, but it's going to be there somewhere. But this button here, kind of like our live stream section, if you click it, you'll see it takes up the whole screen. Some people might wonder why would I ever use this, but for me personally, I love this because I use dual monitors, and when I go to the next monitor and say it's full screen, it shows my taskbar on the bottom. The people that have dual monitors know what I'm talking about, and this basically remedies that. Alright, so what exactly does the future hold for this section in general? Now, it's mainly up to you guys. We really do suggest that, or not suggest, we push you to please report bugs in the bug forum. All the links for this are going to be in the description of the video. Feature requests, anything that's on your mind about this section, we want to know. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this section is in beta. There are probably over 100 things that I have in my mind or in a list somewhere that I want to add that we just couldn't get to for the launch. So for the next 2 to 3 months at least, we're going to be not only fixing bugs but adding new features as well. One feature that I think is going to be pretty popular, and I have no idea how long it's going to take, but it's at the top of our list, is being able to filter by specific heroes. Alright, thanks for watching everybody, and especially to those that have watched the entire video. Post in the comments if you did. I will love you long time. I also want to thank all the people that helped us beta test, most notably the people that gave us testimonials such as B-Ball and Pyrion Flax, Reeves, Luminous, Gods, Blitz, Purge, AC, Cyborg Matt, Bruno, and even though he forgot to do it, I still love him, LD. In addition, the people that helped us design certain parts of the section, Neil, Color, and especially Danny Dem, who, if you guys don't know who that is, he's the guy who won the Polycount contest. He created the design for the actual VOD boxes, and I freaking love them to death. Also, a big thanks to iMacer for helping me manage this section. And last but certainly not least, an enormous thank you to both Pietro and Buka for being the most amazing people I've ever worked with in my entire life. They essentially took my vision from back in October. I think I was even on Talk Dota back then talking about this section, and they were able to bring it to life. And for that, there is pretty much nothing I can do to repay you aside from telling you that I love you guys. You're amazing. And if you guys watching want to support them, all you have to do is go on our website and turn off ad block, because 100%, and I say this in every video, 100% of the revenue from the website will go to our programmers and people helping us with the site. Alright, hopefully you guys will enjoy this section, and as I've talked about time and time again, we will be updating it out of our asses over time. And thanks again, guys. Love you. More power to Dota 2.